Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host, Valerie, and sometime co-host, Miss Purrington. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. We bring you articles and podcasts featuring the best in Austin comedy in all its shapes and formats. The podcast project began in 2016 and brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations and will usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. Today, I sit down with somebody whose online presence is frustratingly light. I was talking with a friend and wanted to show him a video of our guests stand up and couldn't find much of anything online. But that's okay. If you believe anything I ever say, believe me that when our guest steps on stage, everyone pays attention because you never know what you're going to get. It's always going to have you roaring with laughter, but it looks like an improvised performance piece. And it's always memorable. He co-hosts a comedy showcase Saturday nights at Taos, whatever, co-op on the UT campus. And besides our love of comedy, we also share UT alum credentials. Oh, and by sitting down with me today, I complete my personal bingo card of interviewing all three co-hosts of one of my very favorite podcasts, The Gross Lonely Boys. And now Comedy Wham presents our guest, Andrew Clarkston. Oh, yes, the cheering crowd.
That was great. I was very impressed by that.
Nothing too wild, shady.
I felt like I was listening to the radio while I was doing it. I was like, is this NPR? This is great.
Oh, that's good. I like to get the
the vocal fry.
Welcome to Comedy Wham.
Welcome. I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I obviously love Gross Lonely Boys.
Why?
And why?
Everybody that likes it, it's not good. When people tell me they like it, I'm like, are you crazy? I don't know.
Yes, and I'm amazingly immature, even though I put on like this air of being, I do this podcast where I'm really intrigued.
And you
about
printed out this
I
thing, so I'm like, anybody who has a printer, I feel like is too professional to like our show.
No, it's really good, and
thanks.
I wish it would blow up on the national scene.
Hopefully,
yeah.
Well, you'll like. There's someone tweeted. There's a tweet that I thought was funny. That was. Let me find it. Let me pull it up. Oh, it's loading.
So while he's doing that, the Gross Lonely Boys is this it's a three co-hosts. It's Andrew, Danny Goodwin, and Enzo Priesenitz are the co-hosts, and people describe it as a prank call show, but I don't know that I really buy into that. Yeah. It's just, to me, it's like your wild stories, and usually they're Enzo's wild stories.
And then we just make fun of him.
Yeah, and then Danny drops beats, and then you just interject your own wild craziness.
Sniper.
Yeah, so it's a really good balance, and I don't know how. We'll talk about this. I'm supposed to ask you an official icebreaker.
Oh wait,
but tell me the tweet, and then we'll.
Yeah, it said, "Sorry, I wouldn't subscribe to your podcast, the podcast boys, the boys who podcast." And then I quote tweeted and I said, "Oh no." That's pretty much our podcast, the boys who podcast, the podcast boys.
Yeah, I just love that show.
Well, let's get
a lot. Yeah, let's do the official. Okay, so I always ask an icebreaker question. One word to describe your past.
Ooh, what? Is it always that? That's always the question?
That's always the question.
Ooh, one word to describe my past. My past.
Your past.
My past. My past. Lonely? I guess lonely. Yeah, let's go with lonely. And that's the thing. That's
Lonely Boy.
It's in the top. I didn't even think about it.
Wow, mine's blown everywhere now. Wow.
No, yeah, a lot of alone time. But I guess that's how everybody perceives their past. I don't know. Just growing up seems very lonely. You know what I mean?
Well, are you an only child?
No, I have a brother, but he's 5 years older than me.
Okay.
So we
that's
didn't
a big enough age
associate
difference.
too much.
Yeah. Do you have any early comedic memories of something that you saw that really struck a chord?
Oh, I was really into. I had a Bill Cosby tape I'd watch all the time. It was like one of his specials, and then what else did I watch? I was really into Brian Regan from like we got that Brian Regan's first CD. I was really into that. I'd listen to it all the time. And then in 5th grade, there was a talent show, and I just did his jokes at him. And everybody thought I was really funny.
There's somebody I interviewed recently that did something like that, where they just recited somebody,
Well, it was like, that's what my dad said that you do. Oh. Like, he was like, yep, that's comedy. You just go. I used to do that, and I was like, all right, I'll do it, I guess. And then I felt bad about it, because I was like, these aren't my jokes. But people thought it was really funny, so.
So did you want to do comedy?
Yeah, since I was a little kid, yeah. Or I just watched TV all day.
Yeah.
So I was really into watching TV, and that seemed like the way to get on TV or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like Seinfeld, really into Seinfeld a lot. Watched Seinfeld every day, pretty much, for the first, 15 years of my life.
Yeah, I know several people who are like, Seinfeld is like the best, which is so ironic because it's a show about nothing.
Yeah.
And yet, I guess that's the genius of it, is finding humor in nothing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, our lives are nothing. Yeah. So I'm like, because on the show they're like, oh, he needs something. He needs to. What if he was your butler? And it's like, that's not how what's really happening.
Did you do more talent shows? Did you ever get on a stage when you were still in school?
That was 5th grade. And then pretty much the rest of school, nothing too. I was in band.
Okay.
Which is the opposite of stand-up. It's a group activity. Yeah, you have to be stand all together. What else did I do creatively? Nothing really. I was really into Quiz Bowl in high school, which is kind of like you answer questions, which is a bit more like stand-up because you have to you buzz in and you go, that's the capital is Tegucigalpa, So stuff like that. I guess that's a bit of performing. Where else did I perform? What am I big? And then, I guess I didn't perform until I got to college, and that's when I started doing stand-up.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I forgot to ask you is where you grew up.
Oh, yeah. Fort Bend County outside of Houston.
Okay. All right.
So it's close to Houston that you can go and do stuff, but far enough away that there's nothing happening. It's just the suburbs.
Right. So you became a transplant for college.
Yeah, I moved here from Sugar Land.
And I know that there was a kind of a meeting of minds. You ended up meeting some pretty important people in terms of your comedy existence. Oh,
for sure, yeah.
But we can get to when you met them. But when you came to college, were you on a track at this point?
So I was gonna do I wanted to be. Whenever people would ask what I wanted to do or whatever, I said I wanted to be a comedy writer on television, a comedy television writer. And so when I got to college, I started doing, first semester I did student television. There was a sketch show, a student sketch show called That's Awesome is what it's called.
That's a show right up my alley. I love the word awesome.
That's awesome. And it was great because people would say it and you go, well, that's the name of the show. Wow, you do student television? That's awesome. And you go, exactly. And so that was fun, and that's where I met Dismukes. That was the first semester we were both doing it.
Oh, so it's right off the...
Yeah, first semester we're both doing it, and then second semester we start doing stand-up because it was funner than doing student television.
Well, did you know when you were deciding to come to UT that Austin was like this big comedy scene?
I guess it was in the back of my head because of all the places I could choose to go to college. I was like, well, this one's the closest to a city that has a comedy scene. And so I think it factored in for sure. It was a good. And so
So how did that conversation go about? Let's go do, I presume, an open mic.
Well, I did open mics with my friend over Christmas break. Am I burping? Something I keep yawning or burping or something. I don't know why I'm talking like this.
I expected a wild ride with this interview.
Okay.
So,
so we after. So I went on winter break. I went back to Houston, and we. I did an open mic with my friend who had done them before in Corpus Christi. And so I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. So I'll go with this grizzled vet who's been to like 3 open mics in Corpus Christi. And so we went into Houston and did some open mics. And then I was like,
Didn't you run into somebody?
Who?
Am I thinking of the wrong person? Because I think Allison O'Connor did
That's a year later.
Okay. All right.
So,
all right.
yeah. So I went back and we did, I did some open mics, and then it was pretty much like, well, now you have to do this every night for forever. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that for 4 years. And so, I've been doing comedy every night since then, essentially.
Every night? Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. So, anybody who's listening who is just completely oblivious to the intensity and the energy that you give off on mic, that same intensity and energy is what's happening on stage. And I'm just curious, how did you approach that first open mic? Because I said in the intro,
I get what you're saying.
You're like crazy on stage.
I just yell, I guess is the way to say it. I just yell a lot. No, I guess it kind of shaped it because I went up in Houston a lot at the beginning, and it's a different vibe there doing open mics, because it's like there'll be like in Austin, the open mics, it's just like there's nobody here, there's just like 10 comics and none of them are listening. It's like in Houston, it's like it's a sports bar and the game just finished and we lost and nobody wants to leave because they're all drunk. And so then you do the open mic for them. And so it's just a lot of like, hey, and you gotta, get their attention and stuff, and you gotta just yell. Yeah. And so they look at you. That's pretty much the thing. So I guess that's the evolution of my style. I was just trying to make people look at me while I'm on stage.
Did you do that like from the get-go?
Pretty quick, I guess. I tried to do other stuff, and then it was like, well, they're not even listening. Like it was, But I don't know. Yeah. So I did that. Yeah. And then I came back to Austin, and we had like our first meeting or whatever for the student television show for the year, and I was like, dude, we gotta go out. Like we gotta start doing stand-up every night, because that's what people who really like have writing jobs do. Like they don't do the student television show. Like no one gives a shit about that. And he was like, oh yeah, good point. And so then we just started going out all the time.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, then we're done.
No. But it was kind of a thing where we were excited to do the student television because we like doing sketches.
What was your first open mic here in town?
Cenote.
Okay.
On a Friday, like about this time, like this Friday, essentially 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't wait then.
It was January. Well, the first time I went up is January 1st, 2014, and I have it on my phone.
Wow.
I have all my sets.
Wow.
I have 973 sets.
973?
Yeah.
Wait, did you said 2014?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I got, there it is.
Wow.
1114.
And you're
5 minutes.
That's insane. And so you just knew from the get-go to just record.
Someone told me.
Yeah.
And I recorded my first set because I was like, well, I want to, check in.
Yeah.
And then I don't think I recorded my second set. And then this guy, Dale Cheeseman from Houston, was like, oh, you should record all your sets. And I was like, oh, yeah.
So what do you get out of recording your sets?
Nothing.
Okay. Do you ever re-listen?
If it's good.
How do you judge if it's good?
I don't know. It's not even, there's no actual, it's just, did I miss, if I want to listen to it, pretty much, just if I want to hear a funny thing I said or something, if something went well, particularly well. But I should be listening to it more, but I don't. But I have all the information if I ever wanted to.
Is every performance unique?
No.
Okay.
Right? Do you think they are?
Yes.
That's so weird. I feel so rote. I feel so.
Really?
That's the way I feel like a robot sometimes.
Well, maybe I don't see you often enough.
Maybe that's it though. Yeah. That was definitely a barrier at the beginning to me, was like, I was like, this is how you do comedy. You do the same jokes every time, the same way, and you got to get the right way to say it.
Yeah.
And then later I was like, I don't think that's necessarily the best way to approach open mic comedy.
I want to ask leading the blind style questions where I like really dig in because I am really fascinated.
Is this not leading the? What's the difference? How do you define the difference between your two podcasts?
I define the difference as I'm talking to you as a fan.
Oh,
I'm not talking to you as somebody that wants to like learn the craft.
I get it now.
So
I feel like I was answering the questions like that though. Okay,
and that's fine for you to do that. And,
yeah.
I'm
not worried about it
because it's just. Yeah, I think that you just walk up on stage and you just spit out everything that's in your brain and you yell it. And I know, for somebody who doesn't know your comedy, that may be off-putting to be, I don't want to listen to somebody who just yells. But it's so comedic the way you do it.
Yeah.
And like I said, anytime that I see you at a show that you're going up on stage, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for
Yeah, I guess it's good because I'm always trying to do new stuff. So.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they just, if you see them at the show, you see their set, and you're like, well, I guess I'll see them in another 2 years when they write another 5 minutes.
Yeah. So how would you, besides the yelling and the high energy, how do you describe your...
Yeah. I don't know. Lately I've been trying to do, I guess, more of a social commentary, I guess, if I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because I guess the genesis of the current style that I do was like, I started doing this joke 2 or 3 years ago that was about like music festivals. And it was about how I don't like music festivals, but everybody in Austin likes music festivals. It's pretty much that for like 7 minutes. And then I was like, I kind of like doing a longer joke that's about one topic where I really dive into it on like a social level. And so then I did that, and then I had the FPIA set I did was like about Austin versus like where I grew up and the difference between Austin type stuff. I'm not used to talking this much. I'm used to just coming and then I kind of lean back and
okay, let me.
But yeah, social. What was I talking about?
What do you mean? What do you mean by social?
Social just the way people act, I guess. But it's all comedy. I don't know what I'm talking about, man. I don't know. I'm trying to do. I guess I'm trying to do a lot of local type jokes, which sounds dumb, but or just specific jokes that haven't been. Because the one thing I've been trying to work on this joke about Chick-fil-A and like Christianity and about how like I just go to Chick-fil-A and it's like going to church pretty much. I don't know. It doesn't make any. I don't know. I'm just trying to do because I feel like there's just such an intersection between like modern evangelical Christianity and like Chick-fil-A and like that whole like a Yeti cup and like that, you know, that kind of stuff that's not explored anywhere else in the media. Like nobody's talking, and so I'm trying to talk about stuff that like people don't talk about.
Okay.
But not necessarily important things. Like not important. Like there's a reason they're not talked about, and it's but like.
And you're not the type of comic that talks about like, oh, today I went to the grocery store and you know
no, I'm talking about
happened.
Real stuff, issues. I guess I am trying to do like stuff that's I hate fake shit like that where you're like, oh, can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
I don't know. I think it's just funny to ask, but
it is funny to ask.
I wanted to do a thing on our podcast where we trick someone into thinking that you can't curse. We go, whoa. But yeah, I don't like fakes where people are being like, oh, the other day or today, you guys won't believe what happened today, and it's like that's it.
What if it's not fake though?
That's true, but it's like it's real one time, and then they just keep trying to do it again and again.
Yeah. They try to find the
but
fiction.
I don't know how you perceive me on stage.
That
I'm doing hot stuff every time.
Yeah,
coming out. And
pretty much, and just absurd, just putting absurd concepts out there into the universe. That. Yeah. Is that bad? I mean,
no, I just have no idea how like, you know, you think you have you have an idea of yourself and then there's, the way people perceive you, and there's a bit of a discrepancy.
Who would you compare yourself to if you had to compare yourself
I
to?
don't know.
Somebody?
Like a comedian?
Yeah. Or a politician. It doesn't matter.
Who do I like? I mean, I guess maybe who's the most... Probably either like Rory Scovel or Aziz Ansari are the two that I find most influential in like the way I talk. But I don't know.
I haven't watched Rory, but I've seen Aziz.
Which Aziz special?
Well, I mean, to me, the energy. I see where the energy
that's why I was trying to account for with that.
Yeah.
And just I'm wearing weird clothes, I guess. But you haven't. If you Aziz's first two specials were like my favorite thing when I was in high school. Like I'd watch them all the time.
Yeah.
On my iPod on the bus, and then I'd just be watching that. But you should watch Rory Scovel's stuff. It's for real.
Yeah.
It's like the best stuff out there right now.
Okay.
In my opinion, it's just real absurd.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So I'm curious, and I don't know. There's just something about your stage presence that I want to ask completely different questions than I would ask other people. But what kind of response do you get? I mean, what kind of things do people tell you after?
What do they tell me? It's just
you?
Man. I don't know. I really have. I'm just finding out that I don't know anything about myself.
Well, time to learn.
Yeah. What do people? I guess it's just a lot of I just brush people. I just go like, yep, I was yelling a lot. All right, just kind of that kind of stuff. But it was definitely a thing where I learned to. You don't yell into the mic. You don't yell right here. Early on you think this is This is where I want to yell. Because it's the loudest. But you got to yell back here. Right. That's the biggest tip.
Yeah.
Is to move the mic when you're yelling. But yeah, I feel like people. I don't know what people think of me.
And are you one of those comics that, I've interviewed enough that there's a whole camp of people that are just like, they just crippling self-doubt and just, they don't.
About what? About
life, about their existence on the comedic stage.
Oh,
They're just,
no. What else am I going to do?
I don't know.
I would feel more existential dread than comedic dread. Like, it's just like, what would I do other than be a stand-up comedian?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. Because if I can tell a story. Oh, here's a story that's just me bragging, which I guess is what we're doing.
Yeah.
When Todd Glass was in town last year, he was at Mugshots, like the bar that we hang out at.
Yeah.
And he was talking to someone, and then I was kind of next to him, and then I was talking, I'm like, and I'm talking really loud, and then he leans over to someone, he goes, I know this guy's a comedian. He couldn't be anything other than a comedian. Oh. So I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as somebody who interviews a ton of people, you look at somebody and you say, well, they're perfectly... Okay, this is going to come out wrong.
No, don't do it. No, you should be mean. You should be meaner.
They're perfectly capable of holding down a day office. But you're right. You are suited for the stage.
Yeah, that's at least the only thing I've been preparing for. Is the only
either that or I don't know, maybe I
don't have a
hit
job,
killer.
So yeah,
a contract killer. Maybe
that's my D&D character is an assassin.
Oh, really? Well, there we go. Nailed it. I'm a good read on people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you didn't take that as.
Oh, I don't.
But that's kind of cool, and I think that's unusual to like see somebody and know that. I mean, this is so where they belong, and there isn't that angst or that I don't know, am I good enough as a comic? There's none of that.
Or those people where you're like, you're too hot to be doing comedy. Like, what are you doing? Go be in a commercial or something. Go hang out on the rooftop at a bar and drink.
Yeah.
But me, I was just like, that's all I want to do is do comedy.
All right, let's go back to that first semester of doing those nearly daily open mics. Did you do FPIA the first year?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No.
Did you know about it?
Not really, because it was like I think I kind of was like, what happened? And then it already happened because it was like, yeah.
Yeah. And so when you learned about it, was it something they're like, oh, yeah, absolutely, I would totally do that?
Well, it seemed like that's what you should do anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't, anybody who doesn't do it, you're like, what are you, dumb? Like, you just pay $10, you get to do, like, for the most people you've ever done stand-up for.
Yeah, yeah.
So
for you, what was it that made you sign up?
I just wanted to do it because everybody else was doing it.
Yeah. And at that point, you're a year into
year and a half, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't get past the first round the first time. But who was, John Ramsey was hosting. And he, at the end of his, he was like, when they're waiting for the judges or whatever, so it's just him killing time up there. He goes, all right, let's go through all the people we saw tonight. And then he was like, who was, that was the guy with the jacket or something. And then he goes, Yola Lou. He goes, is that fat Asian chick? And then he goes, Andrew Clarkston. He goes, I think he should get through. He needs it. It seems like he needs it. And I was like, I do need it, man. I need a win.
So you've done it
This will be my third time.
Coming up or last? It seems...
No, this is my fourth.
15, 16, 17. Yeah.
So I did it once, didn't get through, and I got simmies both times.
And do you feel that in that time you changed what you were doing?
For sure, yeah. The first time I was just trying to do my one joke that I thought was funny, and then I was like, that I just did it every open mic for a while, and then I was like, it's probably not the best way to approach it. And then, the other two times I got through, I did the same joke, which I don't like, but that I did the same joke both times, but it was the same, like 6 minutes. But that was it's about Austin. And so, but yeah, there was definitely a good. But I think a lot of people say I didn't get to the finals because the judges were in the semifinals are out of town people, and it was my whole set's about Austin.
Oh. Yeah.
So they don't know the inside stuff.
I guess the more you do the contest, the more you have to be strategic about it.
Because you're like, well, I have enough. I go to enough because the first time you're like, well, I got to do my best jokes. These are these, and it's like it's obvious which jokes are your best jokes because you only have like 10 minutes. And you're like, well, I'll do 6 minutes, Yeah. But then later you're like, well, I've been doing it I got to really try something out this time, So I'm hoping this year I'll try something new. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Are you doing it?
I don't know.
You should do it.
I might just
because you'll get the best tape that you'll ever be able to get. That's what you should. That's the main reason to do it.
I hear that so much now. It's like, why not? You get a good tape, and you're in front of the biggest audience you'll probably ever be in front of.
For sure.
So, and if you're friendly-ish, then hopefully the crowd isn't gonna boo and throw tomatoes.
This is bad.
I'm sure that happens.
Yeah, who's some sets I've seen are. What would I don't know?
Yeah,
some fun. Yeah. That's why it's fun though. If you go and you see you're like, what? Yeah. That's what you planned to do.
So again, I would not normally ask this type of question, but one of the interesting things about last year's FPIA is that a certain trio of fellas who podcast together happened to be in the same semifinal round.
Oh,
right?
Were we?
I think so.
That sounds right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you, Enzo, and Danny were.
And the funny thing, it's so weird that Enzo won the contest. It's so funny because we just had the podcast and we're like, we got a couple, and then we're like, oh, Enzo's a big deal now apparently. But it was fun because you can't even tell the week that he won. I think if you listen through the podcast, we don't even mention it, which is always great. I feel is whenever someone achieves success to just treat him the same. Yeah, just treat him the same terrible way you'd usually treat him. I firmly believe in that.
So how did the podcast? Because timeline, since you haven't listened to Comedy Wham episodes, I interviewed Enzo
Oh, did you get him before? You got him before?
I interviewed him December 2015.
Whoa.
So at this point, comedy was a very casual.
Yeah, he's like, I'm mostly into knives right now. So I'm making knives for Robert Rodriguez. So I don't know how much I can go to one open mic. Yeah.
And at the time he said, I think I'm going to start podcasting. Or he said, we've been thinking about
one. Oh yeah,
he might have
December we'd done one or two.
So how? Because you went to school with Danny as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so you knew Danny.
Vague, but we met through comedy though.
Okay.
But it was like because it was when we were all doing like all the UT people. It's like we didn't meet independently. We would just meet while doing comedy. Go, you go to UT too, and then we would be friends that way usually. Okay. But yeah.
So how did this idea?
How did the idea of the podcast? What was so? I think the original idea for our podcast, we had me and Danny were cooking up something where we were gonna. It was like a television podcast, and we were gonna watch. It was gonna be about the show Franklin and Bash.
Oh my god!
You know the show Franklin. Yes. It's like just a weird, and then it's like. You'd come in and everybody would have watched one episode and then we'd just talk about it, which I think is a great idea for. Oh, and no. Wait. Okay. So no, it was called Franklin. Wait, what was it called? We had some. It's because it was going to be half that, and then the other half we were going to talk about hip hop. It was going to be a great idea for a podcast. And then I don't know where Enzo got in there at some point. I guess because me and Danny were already doing the Chortle Portal together, so we were like, we should probably bring in someone else. I don't know. It was definitely a Cherrywood invention of hanging out at Cherrywood. Yeah, because that's the only mic that I ever saw Enzo at. It was at Cherrywood, and then and then I don't know. I guess we wanted to do prank calls, and then Ethan at Body Tape was like, well, you could do it. We could set it up pretty easily. And I was like, well, that sounds like what we should do then.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the prank call thing.
Yeah,
how do you feel about them as a listener? I fast forward through them when I listen to it.
Do you really? Oh, I love them.
I like doing them in the moment. And then when I'm re-listening to my own podcast.
The funny thing
Sorry I haven't listened to your podcast. I'm too busy listening to my own podcast. Twice. I listened to this week's episode twice. I don't know. I might. I don't know if I like myself or I just like listening and then because I like listening to because they'll be talking and then I'll think of a joke in my head while I'm listening and then I'll say the joke in the podcast and I'm like, nice one, man. That's great. That's exactly what I was thinking. I can't listen. I've been listening to other podcasts, yesterday I was trying to listen to an episode of Pete Holmes' podcast. You Made It Weird, and then I had to turn it off because I was like, I'm not on this podcast. Yeah. I'm like, these guys are saying the dumbest shit, and no one's calling them on it. Nobody's saying anything. They're just saying yeah, man. That's the thing about social media is everybody, no one's actually being social on it, and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Why am I listening to this?
The one thing that I like about the prank calls is like each of your personalities comes out. And the thing that I find really funny is how guilty some of you feel after the prank calls.
Yeah, what's your read on it? I want to hear your.
Well, Enzo is always the guiltiest. Like he always feels the worst. Like I think it was this last episode, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago.
The one with the macaroni grill.
Yeah,
call? Yeah.
That's the John Popper.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, I could because I've listened often enough now. I knew exactly that Enzo was just feeling guilty, and it's like he held it off for a while, but then it's like, oh god, I feel terrible. Should we call? And who was the guest?
Shoot. Jake Rowe? No, it was after that. Brett? No,
it wasn't Brett. But yeah, they were like, no, don't. No. And you guys were kind of egging him on to, his guilt.
Okay, do you believe his guilt? I always feel like it's an act. I always feel like it's him trying to be like, hey, I'm a good guy, okay? Hey, I feel, should we call her? Oh. but that's just.
No, I don't know.
It feels sanctimonious, but
I feel like it's legit. But he probably does, overplay it a little bit just for comedic effect because he has his character.
No, yeah, he's such his whole thing is weird. Was it Thai? It might have. It was the Thai episode.
Was it? Okay.
Because we were playing harmonica at the beginning.
Oh,
I think.
right.
Yeah. That whole the harmonica thing played in great. I feel that's a great.
Yeah.
The Thai episode's great.
Yeah,
because you're like they're playing harmonica at the beginning, and then we gotta tie it into the weird blues traveler.
Yeah. Okay, I have to put back my journalistic hat on.
Let's do it.
All right, so. Hopefully we've convinced people that they have to listen to Gross Lonely Boys.
Yeah,
it's
I feel
not
so
just
much
a
more comfortable talking about
prank call. It really isn't because there's this whole new thing now. The Amber Bixby and
Tino. There's no developments. I feel bad.
Bummer.
It seems like no, there should be, and I'm not in charge of it though. I'm not. I'm just the guy. Who? But tell Enzo he needs Tino updates.
Yeah. So Chortle Portal, the two Andrews is how it started, right?
Yeah, we would. So it was like in this co-op basement on the drag. So it's across it's right by In-N-Out. It used to be by Burger King, which we would call. There's like a Dane Cook joke where he calls Burger King the BK Lounge, and so we would always say we were going over the BK Lounge. But then the BK Lounge closed. And we were doing it. We were like.
When did you start it?
March of my sophomore year.
Okay, so
March. It'll be the third anniversary this March. Mm-hmm. And so year and a half in, year in. I always just round up. And we were still, I guess, in that, I guess I'm so cynical about student television now that I think it's so dumb. But it was like, we were like, oh, we'll put it on student television. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be cool? Because we didn't like doing the student, I got to get back to the student television show that we were on because me and Andrew, we would always just pitch stuff and then they would be like, we can't do that. That's too offensive. And it was there was one woman on the thing and she would always said we were really sexist and mean and racist and stuff. And we were like, I mean, kind of, but also like this, I don't know. We could still put out the sketch. Yeah. And then she wasn't in charge. Our friend was in charge, Kelvin. And then so we'd get sketches on. And then she got in charge. And then we were like, she won't let anything we do get on.
So you had to find another.
So we had to do this other thing. But and our big sketch, the big sketch that me and Dismukes, I don't know if he was involved. I don't know. I'm just tying him into stuff. But he was definitely around when we were writing it. It was like. It's like me and it got a couple views because someone posted it on Reddit, so it has like a couple thousand views. And then it's like me sitting on a couch, and then this guy goes, "Oh, you want some pizza?" And then I take a bite of the pizza, and then I start having a seizure. And then he's like, "What?" And then it says "Little Seizures Pizza."
Oh my god.
that was the big sketch. that was the headlining sketch. And so we were like, well, we should do a student television stand-up comedy show. And so we were like, and we were in film school. And so we're like, we got all these film school friends. We can film it. It'll be so fun. It'll be a group effort. Everybody will be so into it. And then after like a year of that, we were like, oh, this is like a lot of work. And also Dismukes was in charge of editing them, like editing the sets. And he just never did it. Like he did it like... He edited like 10 of like 50 that we shot. And then, and so we kind of gave up on doing it because it was such a toll on us, but also just people we knew. We were just like, hey, can you come every week for a while? And then they're like, no, I got to go get paid money to do stuff. And we're like, yeah, that makes sense. You should probably go do that. And so now it's just a hangout show, which is probably better for the stand-up comedy community. But yeah, it's fun. It's underground in more ways than one.
What do you mean by that?
Just a lot. Like people don't know about it, but in a good way because like all the people that come, like people come every week. Like it's a full house pretty much every week, and then but like lame people don't know about it. So it's like there's no one.
So I'll put myself in the lame category because I would never go to that show because. If I was going to go to a show on a Saturday night that was free, I was going to go to Sure Thing.
Oh, yeah. But look who's the only show now, Brendan. I know you're listening, Brendan.
Did you notice any difference in your crowd when that show ended and people were like,
oh no, not at all. That was the thing, because we were like, we're going for a completely different thing, pretty much, because it was like, well, that's when I started it. I was like, it was like, well, we're never gonna get on Sure Thing, so we should just start our own show at the same time. Like, who cares? Like, it's never gonna. I've never met those guys. They've never gone to any open mic I've been to in the past year and a half, and so I was like, all right, whatever. And so we started doing it, and it's all just college people, which is good for. It's a homogenous crowd. It's all just co-op, crunchy people.
Yeah.
And see, this is a secret for people listening. You can smoke there.
Yeah.
You can. It's the only show in town where you can smoke inside. So it's a real treat if you like inhaling smoke while you're watching comedy.
I'm old,
which
so
people don't. Yeah.
I actually. The one time I did go, I'm like, I'll try. And then as people started showing up, I'm like, I can't. I just can't. So, count me as one of your unsatisfied customers.
That's the thing.
Never seen a fucking show.
That's why we like it, because we keep away all the people that don't.
Because it's the type, I see the lineups. I'm like, I really would love to see these people in this combination, but I just.
Oh, well, maybe we can get you a special section. We can get you a seat away from everybody.
Will you do velvet ropes?
Yeah, no smoking section.
Which in that venue would be completely meaningless.
Well, that's the way it is everywhere, I feel. The whole no smoking section thing was a farce to begin with. Right. It's like, well, there's people smoking over there. You think it's not going to come over here?
Like in the airplanes when they used to be able to smoke in the airplanes. Yeah. Like
on Mad Men.
So, maybe one day, I don't know what the code thing is that allows the smoking to happen.
The thing is, no one cares. That's the main code, is that no one knows that it's happening.
Yeah.
It's the most fire. It's the biggest fire hazard show in Austin. The show, the most flammable show. We just hang. We've been hanging a sheet from an extension cord.
Yeah, that's safe.
No, yeah, we have this big extension cord. We just tie it up and then we hang a sheet from it, which is new. We used to have a whole backdrop thing, but they tore it down because they don't like us doing the show there.
Oh, how funny.
I don't know. But the thing, because I feel like they don't like us doing the show there because, I don't know, we do it and we have to move all these chairs all the time, and so I always feel like we're in the way. But I feel like they don't care that much, and also we've been doing the show there longer than anyone who's lived there has lived there, so they're just like, I guess the show happens in the basement. I don't know what to say. And we have to go every 6 months and renew it with the co-op board, and they're always just like, yeah, man, I guess. Like, I don't even know. Why did you even show up to this? You could have just. But it's been fun. I like doing it.
Do you do like a suit and tie formal?
We went.
Try to be
one time we went with like a pit, like a pitch and stuff, and then after that we were like, oh, they don't even care. But yeah, it was me and me, Dismukes, and Shannon started it. Shannon Cloud, who's our friend who is like a producer and she does improv.
Yeah, and
then she went to LA and our friend Eric took over, and it's better under Eric. Eric's better at it. Sorry, Shannon. But no, because it's Eric's more. That's when it really started. Attendance was better after.
Which Eric is?
It's just our friend Eric.
Oh, just
Eric Kubeska.
Okay.
He's from College Station. But yeah, he's really good at it. He's our producer. So it's me, Danny, and Eric. We buy beer every week. That's about the only thing we do. But yeah, come if you want. If you're cool.
Yeah.
But if you're like, will I have to sit on a couch that has rats in it? And then don't come if you're worried about whether the couch has rats in it.
If you want to relive days as a college student, it is the perfect venue. It really is.
Yeah. Everybody. Well, the weird thing is, whenever people from out of town come, they all come and they do the show, and they all think that they're so original with their riffs. And it's always the same riffs. It's all, this looks like where the Foot Clan meets and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's like, hey, everybody here is 19. They don't know what that is, bud. You're 35 and you have a beard and you're from Chicago or whatever, and you don't know that.
Oh,
But it's fun. It's a fun show.
maybe I'll come in with one of those little Japanese.
Ooh,
hats.
everybody would think it was cool. I think it would definitely up your street cred.
Okay, maybe we'll get the gumption up to do that because I want to see the fucking show. I really do.
we did a special show. The last show we did was a special show, which I thought was really fun. It was our New Faces show, and so it was everybody who hadn't done the show, which was like 15 people that we liked that hadn't done the show, and so we put all them on, and then we did people doing characters of new comics, and so like Rob Gagnon came out, and he was this character called Fudge Ripple, and he was I don't know, this is just people doing weird characters that are like comedians. So he's a Fudge Ripple. I don't know. I feel he said Fudge Ripple a lot. I don't remember. And then Andrew Wagner did this character. It was like Dan, the guy who won't stop kissing everything. I forget but it was really good. And then Andrew Woods did stand up as Dan Margera, Bam Margera's brother, and he does all the jackass stunts, but they're like not good. It was funny. But it was a good context because it was a lot of people doing short sets, and so it's a lot of me coming up in between, which is fun. I always like going up way too much in between people. And then sometimes you'd be watching someone and you go, is this a character or is this guy actually? Some people have been doing joke stuff, and then this guy, I'm like, is it? I feel like it's a good context for a lot of people to see some new people.
Yeah.
It was fun.
So between these two outlets that you have, what have you not done that you want to do?
What have I not done? Like, what does that mean?
Have you? Are you?
What am I waiting to do?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Because you just graduated, right?
I just graduated.
So you have all the free time in the world now.
All the free time to not have a job. Thank you for asking. I don't have a job right now, so I'm just a professional.
Because you are a comic.
Piece of shit. No. Yeah. No. I don't know. Yeah, just pretty much. Moon Tower. I want to do Moon Tower. And then...
Festivals or festival something that you...
I'm not applying to them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a scam.
Yeah.
If you have to apply to it, it seems dumb.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I got to fly to Montana and put up by my own hotel room for this the Montana Comedy Festival or whatever.
For 7 minutes.
There's producers there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to make Chortle Portal as good as I can right now. I'm really working on making it. I'm trying to buy a bunch of old TVs, and they're going to be behind the person while they're doing stand-up. That's really what I've been focusing on. And then we're doing a live podcast, so we'll have our first live podcast at some point. Because Enzo's going to Japan. Did you hear about this?
No.
He's going to Japan for like all of February.
What?
And so, but after that, we're going to have the live podcast in March or something. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
Cool.
The new frontier. I don't know when we're doing the podcast in March, which would be great if I had a date, but we don't have a date. So I don't know. What would you like to see from me as a fan?
Well,
because I guess that's what I should be asking. I should be doing market research for what my fans want.
So I have... I would love to see you at a Cap City stage hosting or featuring.
Me too. They keep asking me, and I go, no.
But this gets into the, all right, are you too wild and crazy to get that invitation? Because
it seems like it.
So,
and it's like, I don't feel like I should change for that.
You shouldn't. And that's the quandary, and that's where I get into the that philosophical or the psychological level of questions. It's like, don't change. And yet it's frustrating because what you do is so unique that should be shared with more people. Yeah. I would love more people to become your fans, but I could see, kind of the suit and tie Cap City model.
They're like, well, we got regular white guys. And if we're going to book a white guy, we want like just a regular white guy who's just kind of up there.
Which is not to disparage the regular white guys.
I love them. Michael Good, and, Andrew Murphy, the most regular.
Everybody.
That's what...
host.
And the good thing about Cap City is they just learned about Andrew Wagner, the newest boring white guy on the block. Which, guys, if you're listening right now and you're like, I need more boring white guy comics in my life, check out Andrew Wagner. He's great. Just a guy where you're
more
like,
Andrews in this town.
More Andrews.
Comics,
yeah.
There's Andrew Woods now, right?
Andrew Woods.
So it's
he's a bit edgier. He skates. He dresses a little cooler and he skates. So little not buttoned up enough to be.
He'll get asked to host and feature before you will.
Yeah, for sure. But he's from out of town. He's cool.
But I don't know. I think I like your style, and I like somebody that is really unique and different to get recognized. And I just wonder, in this town, as much as it is,
what do I have to do to get respect? No respect. Dude, I loved doing, it was a year ago today, Spike Club. I did Spike Club versus Andrew Dismukes a year ago.
Okay.
And that was like one of my favorite things I've ever done. I love writing roast jokes. That's like my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Is writing something that you would... Yeah.
That's all I want to do, pretty much. Versus, that's why I started doing stand-up, is just because I want to be a writer, pretty much. But then, I don't know.
Yeah.
Doing stand-up is pretty fun, too. It seems like everybody that I've heard is just like, well, you try and do writing, and then when you don't have that, you do stand-up. And I was like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. But this city itself doesn't reward writing.
No.
It's not like being in LA and New York where there are clearly a ton of jobs out there. I mean, they're not easy to get, but you can get them. Yeah, what do you have to do to get the respect? Because you're hosting a show that's a long-running show.
I got the only good show in town.
You have the only good
I'm the
Saturday
longest-running
night
host
show.
of the best show in town.
As long as you don't give a shit about your lungs, then it's the greatest show.
No, I was thinking about. I was like,
day.
what show has been going on longer than mine? And it's only Shit's Golden, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, there aren't very many long
run with the same host.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Only you. You just need to rotate. Get rid of Danny. Bring in another Andrew.
Once Danny gets on SNL, we'll put in someone else,
How weird was that?
It was fun,
You're running a show out of a basement, and all of a sudden your co-host is like, yeah, I'm going to be writing for SNL.
Well, he was sleeping on my couch. He was back, and we went, me and him went with Nick Savarino to when Nick threw out the first pitch at the Round Rock Express game. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, after drinking the
they blended up this Arby's thing, this Arby's sandwich, and he drank it on the radio, and they're like, well, you get to throw out the first pitch. And so me and Andrew Dismukes went with him, and then Andrew was supposed to be headlining Cap that week, and then he was like, I gotta go to New York to do something. And I was like, oh, damn. And he was like, yeah, I'm trying out for SNL. And I was like, what?
That's just crazy.
And then he got it.
Yeah, which that
it'd be crazy if he even just tried out. You know?
Right.
It's like, whoa. Yeah. But then, he works for SNL, so that's cool. And he was my roommate.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What does Andrew have to do to get?
Yeah. What is Andrew?
Former roommate current SNL. Right.
No, it was funny because right when he got it, I was like going to like college parties and stuff, and I would tell people, just make a conversation. I was like, oh yeah, my friend got, trying to be cool or whatever. And then they would go, oh man, your friend, they go, did you ever see that movie Don't Think Twice? And I was like, yeah, it's have you not seen it? So it's Mike Birbiglia's movie, and it's like about this improv troupe, and one of them gets on SNL, and then everybody's just like,
yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I have seen that movie.
I've lived that movie.
I've lived the
movie. This has been so much fun. I'm mad on your behalf because I want you to get more recognition in this city.
I'm glad that someone else thinks it.
Yeah. Podcast, hosting a show.
I got the show.
What
else do people do?
A ton of stage time.
I do the most stage time.
Yeah.
I'm at Cenote every Friday if you want to see me. Come to Cenote if you want to see the real comics, man. That's the weird thing. It's like it's like I'm still going to the first mic. You know what I mean? It's still going on. I'm still going to it. I guess at some point I should stop. You know what I mean? Like it's like 'cause it's not doing anything. But but I have a lot. I get a lot of respect at the open mics. I can go up. I can go up when I want.
Well, that's
I can really
important.
choose.
Yeah.
I've really done enough political, savvy that I can go.
Yeah.
Give me up a little earlier. Give me a good spot. So.
So we established pretty early on that your job is to be a comic. So
I said that.
one of my questions, and I'll throw it out just to see what you do with it, is have you had a light bulb moment where you're like, absolutely, this is what I meant to do?
Oh, comedy?
Yeah.
Since starting is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, the Todd Glass thing. And then I don't know. I got joke of the night that one time, so I got $100.
Cool.
That was cool.
Yeah. 'Cause otherwise, you don't get paid anything
Diddly
unless
squat.
you're the winner.
Unless you're the one. Unless you're
Enzo 3
Unless you're Enzo. Unless you win for no fucking reason.
Do you own an Impeach Enzo t-shirt?
Well, he was giving them out. Isn't that bizarre? What a weirdo. What a crazy because he feels guilty. It's him putting on this guilt to be like, I feel so bad that I won. And it's like, come on, man.
Oh, no. I hope this podcast isn't like the beginning of the end of, the fracture.
Oh, no. He knows.
I know.
He knows all this. He knows.
I know. You tell it to his face. I know it.
Dude, yeah. But what did we just say?
So the
money. Oh, yeah. Making money is cool.
There you go.
Yeah. But we went on, I guess I should talk. I went on tour. That was fun.
Oh.
I've been on
You went
tour
up to
twice.
Chicago, right?
Yeah, I went up to Chicago last August. And then the August before that, we just drove around Texas.
Yeah.
Because, 2 summers ago, 2 Augusts ago, or is it
That's
3?
a good route for you to go. Because
Road dog.
just the touring, because you would pick up fans across different
touring's
places,
fun, man.
and
it's just fun because I like traveling a lot. Just having something, you're like, I'm driving here. I got to focus on driving to this place, and then you get there. I really like, and then because it was me, 2 August ago, it was me, Dismukes, Martin Urbano, Kelsey Kane, and Kent Juliff.
Oh, and you guys,
which is too many people to tour. That's too many. If you're listening right now, and you're trying to go on tour. Don't go with 5 people. Don't do it. And then they complain about how small your car is, and it's like, well, we should have taken your car then. But it was fun because because it was a lot of us. It was like me and Dismukes had rented a place, and the lease was up August or July 31st, and our next one didn't start until the 15th. And we didn't have jobs or anything to do, so we were like, we should go on tour. And so we drove up to, and we hadn't even planned it. We were like, we'll kind of figure it out. And so we went up to my grandma's house in Norman, Oklahoma. Uh-huh. So we did Oklahoma City. It was an open mic at a church. But it was you should check out the church open mic in Oklahoma City. It's good. It's like a coffee shop that's attached to a church, but it's like a hip church.
Oh, wow.
It's a cool spot. And you can curse halfway through, you can start cursing. Or something. They're like, now we're into the explicit block or something.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, cool. So we did that. And then after that, we went up to Martin Urbano's uncle, or his cousin. It's like a cousin, uncle, something like that. Uh-huh. He owns a bar in Dodge City, Kansas, and it's called the Doctor's Office. And it's like Dodge City's where it's like a Wild West town, and so we go there, and that's the highlight of the tour, was because his uncle was just like this cool Latino dude who owned this bar, and he's like a Spanish speaking lawyer. He's the only Spanish speaking lawyer in Dodge City, Kansas. Wow. In Dodge City, it's like they have the largest slaughterhouse in the world is in Dodge City, Kansas. Wow. And so if the wind starts blowing one way, you gotta, but yeah. And so he owns this bar, and we did a show there for like 12 people, but it was great. And then we got to stay at his house. That was fun. And then we did, the worst one was we did the show in San Angelo. You know where San Angelo is? It's like south? West. Okay. And then kind of in the Panhandle, but south of the, I don't know where it is.
Hotbed of comedy.
Yeah, we thought, and then it was like a karaoke bar, but they were like, oh, we're going to do comedy. And we got money, which was why it wasn't that terrible. Like, we got a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but, like, compared to everywhere else, we got, like, a lot of money. But, like, we did, like, 2 of us went up, and just no one was, and, like, everybody was, like, 100 yards away. And there was also, like, a guitar guy booked that was, like, and he was like, all right, I'll play in between y'all. And then he was playing songs and stuff. And then we were like, well, they don't really like it. Well, let's let them do karaoke. Let's let them do a couple, 1 or 2 karaoke. Because they came to do karaoke. Yeah. They came to this karaoke bar to do karaoke, not to watch comedy. Which, yeah, of course. And then, and it was like, they had this big, tall, there's a second story, and that's where the guy would do all the DJ stuff. It was like this upper thing. And he had this, like, clipboard he would throw out the window, and he'd like lower it down on this rope, and that's where you'd sign up for the karaoke, and then he'd pull it back up, and then he'd do the stuff. And so we were like, he came down, and we're like, hey, they aren't really paying attention. So like after Martin and I guess Martin and Kelly, I don't know who went up, but then we're like, well, let's let them do a little karaoke, and then we'll come back and do some comedy. And they're like, okay. And then they did like 2 hours of karaoke.
Shit.
And then we're just like hanging out, like, yeah. And then we're like, all right, we gotta. And then we were like, well, we have to go up because we want this money that he said he was gonna give us. And so we eventually got. Oh, and the funniest part, I forgot to mention, there was this host guy that we had hooked up with, and he was like a San Angelo comic. And so he was like, and we're like, all right, man. But he was like, and we're like, how much time what do you want to do up top? And then he was like, I'm thinking like 15. And we're like, all right, yeah, sure, man, whatever, if it's your and then and we're like, when do you want the light? And he was like, yeah, can I get the light at 3? And then we're like, oh, it's like 12? And he's like, no, 3 minutes in. And we're like, what? And then he didn't even make it to that. Oh. He did like 2.5 minutes and then got off. And I was like, oh, man.
Tour life.
But it was, the tour life. And then we stayed at a hotel. That was the only night we stayed in a hotel because we made money. All the other times we were just staying on people's floors. Yeah. But the whole tour was rough. And then the last night we did Denton, which is like the college town. UNT is in there. And it was at this like DIY punk bar place. And it was like, and a bunch of people we knew from school came because they were like in Dallas for summer. And so they drove up, and it was like the best show ever. Oh. And it was, we were like, yeah, we're good at, it was like a triumphant comedy feat. Because it was all just the rest of the tour was just like and then we did the Denton show. It was, and I think that was the start of I was talking about that music festival joke. That's when I did it, and it was out of the park.
Nice.
It was fun. But then and then next summer after that, it was just me and Dismukes and Kent. We drove up to Chicago.
Yeah. I remember I had written Kent, but we weren't connected on Facebook or anything, so you probably never saw my message because I had just seen you. So I was already like fan at that point. I was like, oh my God, he's so interesting and unique and like so different than what I'm usually seeing. And I liked Kent's comedy. Yeah. And of course, Andrew was great. And I had seen that you guys were doing this tour, and I happened to have a trip planned to Chicago, and I'm like, oh, I'd really like to go check them out, kind of out of their element. And just he never saw my message. So, and I think the show ended up being in a suburb, wasn't it? Or
we did a show at Wicker Park.
Oh, maybe it was too far.
It was probably just you shouldn't have. It was. Chicago was disappointing for me, but we did like one show that was like kind of all right, but it was also like at this weird bar, and they like made us take off our baseball hats and stuff. Which is how that's how they discriminate against people in Chicago.
What?
Because you go, what? What are you talking about? But it's like a black thing. Like you can't wear baseball hats in the bar or sneakers.
Are you pulling my leg?
No. They made us take off our hats.
That's
we're like, what are you talking? They're like, it's a gang thing. And we're like, what are you?
Did you look at these?
yeah. They're like, we just don't want any trouble, man. I was like, I don't know what. And it was like they had like pizza, and it cost like $30. It's like some ridiculous amount to pay for this pizza. And like people we were staying with came, and they had to pay money and stuff, and it was all. That's why I like our show, because it's like just chill, just do what, just come and just do whatever. It's not a stressful thing. It's fun.
Yeah.
That's
what it should be.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Well, all right. Well, go do more things. Figure out a way to do more things. Invite him to your festivals.
Yeah.
Without making him pay for it.
All the listeners. Do you have any other questions?
Oh yeah.
What are the good questions?
I'm thinking about throwing this one out. We're running short on time, so
I forgot about I forgot about the swim meet.
Okay, so what do you love about being a performer, and what do you hate about being a performer?
What do I love about being a performer? Like a stand-up comedy performer?
Yeah.
I like it. What do I like about it? I don't know. You don't need anything to do it, which you just need the mic, which is good. Yeah. You know, it's real. There's no equipment necessary. Not a big startup fee, which is good. I don't know. Making people laugh's all right. It's not. It's.
I have a friend.
That's not what it's about, though. Yeah, I don't know.
I have a friend who's convinced that as long as you make yourself laugh, you're gonna have fun as a stand-up.
That's what it. Yeah, the real revelation was. It was just like, oh, like nothing. Like what will happen if it goes bad? Nothing.
No. Like because you've entertained yourself.
Yeah. You just go have fun up there. That was definitely a thing I learned in Houston, because it was like. It was just terrible. Yeah. So like it would just be terrible, and you're like, well, you got to go have fun. Like that's the whole point.
And that may be the joy of watching you perform, is because it comes off really strongly that you are just entertaining yourself. You could give a rat's ass about what the audience is doing and what kind of response they're giving to you. Man. But like there are some comics, it's oh, I don't know.
Sensitive.
Am I funny?
Yeah.
You're like,
why is no one laughing at my jokes? Maybe say something funny, man.
Yeah. But you're just like, I'm going to come up here and entertain myself. And,
yeah.
That's
much
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you hate?
What do I hate?
Besides going on tour and waiting hours?
I don't hate anything, really. It's what is there to hate? What do people say? I don't know. It seems there's no downside, really. I guess waiting around's not that fun, but you know, you get to meet people.
Yeah.
You get to talk to people.
Yeah.
Not getting paid's not fun, but getting paid seems fun. Yeah, working for drinks.
Okay, cool. Ready for your closing question?
Oh, yeah, is it? I'm not. Oh no.
One word to describe your future.
My future. Is that how you booking them all like that?
I do.
Oh, what's the working. Hopefully working.
Very practical.
Trying to make some money, man.
Oh, I do have one question. Do you have a parody Twitter account?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Oh, you have a couple. Okay.
Yeah, why?
You have the Joel one?
Yeah.
Is that I love that account. You can promote it or not promote it.
Yeah. Oh no, that one's because some of them, like I have some Twitters where it's like just so I can tweet stuff that can't be traced back to me, essentially. But yeah, I have this Joel Osteen account where it's me and JT Kelly and Andrew Wagner, who we all grew up real Christian, and so we feel. It's fun to make fun of him. So yeah, we have a whole, and we pretend to be Joel Osteen, but he tweets like about partying and stuff.
Right.
And people message us and they think that we're Joel Osteen.
Oh my
And
God.
it's so sad. I feel so bad for them. So
You
I'm
should
like,
bring that on your show.
I think I brought it up before, but
That's
it's
how I heard about it, but like as a recurring every once in a while.
yeah. Well, and I'm like, there's pictures of like the cover photos, just like a picture of weed, and then they're like, this is probably him.
People are so dumb. People are so dumb. Yeah, I was surprised because I know you mentioned it on the Gross Lonely Boys, and I followed it, and I wanted to tell a friend about it, and then I doubted myself that was you got. And this doesn't sound very nice. This is another thing that's not going to sound very nice. But
Don't worry about it.
I looked at it and I'm like, is this the right account? Because it's like 20,000+ followers.
No, it's not us.
Joel Dongstein?
We're not Joel Dong. You
You're
thought I was
not?
Joel Dongstein?
Shit, I did. Oh man.
I wish.
Oh man.
I wish we were that successful.
Oh, then I have to figure out what your real parody
That
account
one's
is.
no, yeah. Well, the thing was, we made it and then we realized we were ripping off that.
Oh shit.
It's a bit different.
Never mind.
But,
I'll edit all of this out.
No, you don't have to. Don't worry
Okay,
about
I'm
it.
not going to.
What do I had another. What are my other parody accounts? I have one. It's called. I got all these baseball. Like Devin Walker found all these baseball cards in the trash or something. So I had all these baseball cards, and so I just put pictures of them, and then I'd caption it with like something dirty, essentially. So it's just like a picture of a weird guy who's playing baseball, and then you go, you know, when the teacher asks to collect homework, but you forgot to do the homework, or just dumb stuff. And it's called based ball cards. So it's like base with and then a D, based ball cards. But I haven't tweeted from it in a while, and I feel bad about it. So so many abandoned Twitter projects that I'm just, but yeah.
All right. Well,
man, I wish I was Joel Dongstein.
that is a wrap on Comedy Wham presents Andrew Clarkston. Tell us where we can find you on social media and let us know about any upcoming shows you have.
At Clarkstunnin, ClarkStunnin, is my Instagram and my Twitter. My Instagram isn't funny; it's just pictures. And then do I have any shows coming up? The Gross Lowly Boys are doing a live Valve show on the 12th, but I don't know if this will be out. January 12th at the Valve at 11 p.m. They haven't promoted it. I don't know why. I made them a poster 2 weeks ago. It's a cool poster.
And it's at the Valve.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if I can make that. I may not be able to. Damn it!
Well, we're doing another one.
With my schedule, please, in the future.
We'll send us your avails. And then Chortle Portal comes back January 13th, and will be happening until the summer, probably, which will take another break in the summer. What shows am I on? There's like a ground floor, Taylor Dowdy's show. There's like a 1-year anniversary show. I'm on that. What day is that? That's like, I think it's March something. I don't know. That'll be fun. He said it was good last year.
Well, then, in that case.
Yeah, let me find it.
Okay.
That's the only thing I think I'm booked on for the past. March 8th, the Hotel Vegas 7th anniversary show.
Okay.
Apparently, there were 300 people there last year, so
Wow.
get there early if you want seats.
All right. Cool. We hope you've enjoyed learning about how Andrew got to be the comedic genius that you heard today just as much as I have. Be sure to visit comedywham.com and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at comedywham, and like our Facebook page. You can listen to past interviews on Stitcher, Google Play, and iTunes, and review us while you're at it. This has been Comedy Wham presents Andrew Clarkston. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.